Hi everyone, Jared here with Day Traders FX. Hopefully you guys are having a great week, and hopefully you all made some great pips out of some of the movements we've had over the last 12 and 24 hours. There's been some great stuff. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Quickly, you can see things are kind of running back up here. Oil's headed up. Gold is at an important level. We're going to look at gold in just a moment. You can see that the Dow and S&P have both had pretty good days. Everything's kind of running pretty good, and just kind of moving along here. So we're going to keep an eye on that. Coming up here, we have we've seen today quite a few announcements in the U.S. We had durable goods, and that kind of got things moving. It came out a little bit worse than expected, a lot of it worse than expected actually. Unemployment claims were a little bit better than expected. Pending home sales a little worse than expected. So it's kind of been a mixed bag. Coming up tomorrow for the UK and the US sessions, we don't really have much except for the GDP out of Canada, and not that that's not much. It's just a little bit of a low day as far as some of the rest of the pairs go. Okay, we are going to spend our time on the euro pairs. I'll tell you, we're just not going to talk about too much else besides euro dollar and euro yen. These are the important big money makers, and we're going to talk about why that is. Now, quickly, from the daily video, if you watched my daily video yesterday, I talked about selling going short right at 12900. You can see that the high of this candle was 12900. It ran up here and it bounced right off and came right back down and tested this low down here, and then we had another run and all this stuff. Now, remember that my long-term goal and my long-term picture was getting below 12900 and making a run for 12750. Now, 12750 might be out of the picture now because the euro is not able, so far has been unable to get below the 200-day moving average. It had a heck of a time getting above it, and now it's back down and it's bouncing on this 200-day moving average, and we may have a bottom in place. And I'm looking at this 128.35 as our potential bottom. We had a big pin bar right here. This thing shot straight up. You can see it nicely on the 4-hour chart as well. This was just a very nice reversal pattern, and I think this could be the bottom of the euro. So at least for the moment, I'm backing off of my 127.50 analysis, which is down here, which is the 200-day moving average on the 4-hour chart. But so far, the 200-day moving average on the daily chart seems to be winning. Now, if you'll remember my monthly chart here, just a little reminder of things. This is the start of QE1, big rally up. End of QE1, big drop. QE2, big rally. End of QE2, big drop. QE3 has started and the market has begun to rally. And as long as it can stay up above about 12700, 12750, then I think we've got a big rally in store. And now at this point, it looks like it's going to be able to stay above 128.35 as well. So if that's the case, then we should see some good runs. So here's what I'm looking for. The euro came up and just struggled with the 200-day moving average on the 1-hour chart. We've talked about this a lot. Good grief. The 200-day moving average on the 1-hour chart, we've broken this trend line right here. Again, this is our daily chart trend line, or excuse me, our 4-hour chart trend line. And we've broken that, and we're above that. So what I am looking for as of current is I'm looking for a little bit of consolidation, a little bit of retracement. It's currently at 129.12. I'm looking for this to get back to about 12900, and I will be getting long at 12900, give or take a couple of pips. And we're going to need some fairly large stops. We're going to need stops against this 128.35. So there's going to be some 75 plus pip stops in there. But this would be a trade to a couple of options would be to go in light, go in kind of small at 12900, and if we get a dip, go in again, all the while keeping stops below 128.35. Because if we get back below 128.35, then we're pretty much definitely headed to 127.50. But I'm trading against this low right now, and I think this low is going to hold. I think we've got our bottom in place. This was a major price rejection against that level. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. I think that I think that's going to be our best bet. So getting long at 12900 with a possible re-entry around 128.50, stops below 128.35. Again, if we break 128.35, we are headed into 127.50, which I will take as well. So it's really a win-win. We may have to struggle a little bit with some of that initial entry, but 12900 is what I'm looking at. Pound dollar, still totally not interested in anything here, but we're getting some consolidation. We may start to get some breakouts above 162.70, but again, not really interested in that one. Euro yen. Now the euro yen had some major price rejection down here as well. Look at this pin bar. Look at our rejected price action right there against that 99.50. This one came down to about 60, 63, I think. So 99.50 seems to be holding in place very, very well here. Look what happened last time. Big rejection off that. The thing shot up hundreds of pips. It's come right back down to there, came just shy of this, and once again, big rejection off this level. Plus, we're bouncing off that 200-day moving average on the 4-hour chart. And on the daily chart, what you can see here, I'm not really sure how my channel moved. On the daily chart, what we can see here is that what this did is this opened below the 23% fib and ran down and has been consolidating around the 38% fib this entire time. And this also happens to be the bottom of the channel. It also happens to be a couple of things. So we're getting a little bit of some pin bar action on this daily chart and so on. I think I'm ready to get long on this euro yen as well. So you can see it's currently sitting at 100.20. I'd like to get long around 100.05, 100.10. 05 to 10, somewhere in that general area with stops again below this low here, which is 99.62. But actually, stops probably need to be below about 99.50 because that's been our really heavily tested level. So same thing, we're going to be looking at 50 to 60, pip stops, 70 pip stops even on both of these pairs. But again, on the euro dollar, the important thing is that yes, we're going to have a large stop, larger than I'm typically comfortable with, but I'm aiming for at least the high back here, up here, and so we've got 200, about 260 pips at least on the initial run, and then ultimately I think we're going to have some nice possibilities to get up in here to the 135 and so on area. So just keep an eye on that, and the euro yen is going to be the same thing on these larger time frames. We have a lot of upside potential here. Looking at this weekly chart, we have a lot of resistance and a lot of activity up here around 110. So there's 1,000 pips of potential upside in both of these pairs. So these are going to be crucial levels: 12900 and then the 100 even here. Quick little look at Aussie dollar. Just watch this 104. It's about 104.60. And actually, I would revise that to say, let's get a break above 104.55, or excuse me, an open above 104.55, and an open there should take this this Aussie dollar straight through the roof. So keep an eye on that. That will be looking good. And then gold, last but not least, gold is right back up to that major resistance, and I would say it's safe to say gold's going to make a break for it. So when and if gold does, which it's sitting right there right now, that's just going to fuel that upside movement on these pairs that much more. So be ready for that. That should be some pretty good action. Some of these other pairs are coming up into resistance and doing a couple of different things, but I think gold is really going to be a big factor to kind of igniting that rally that we're going to see on the euro dollar and the euro yen. So again, get ready to get long. Anywhere from 10 to 20 pips below current market price on most of these pairs, or on either of these pairs, and we should see some good movements out of that. So best of luck, guys, and keep an eye on Twitter, and congrats on some of those pips last night, particularly, again, this euro yen that we sold off of that 12900, and you can see that it came very nicely, a nice 50 pip run, no problem. Great little movement last night. So thanks again, guys. Good luck, and we'll see you in the chat.